Today we will directly start the second sloka of Atmabodha. Bodhanya sadhanebhyo hi bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam sakshan mokshaika sadhanam पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति टुगेदर बोधोन्य साधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान् मोक्षैक साधनम् पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. First word for word meaning. Bodha, knowledge. Anya sadhanebhyah, in comparison with other means, other sadhanas. He indeed. Sakshat, direct. Moksha eka sadhanam, the only means for liberation or moksha. Pakasya, for cooking. Bahnivat, just as the fire. Vat means just as. Jalavat, just as water. Vayuvat, just as air. Likewise, Vannivat, just as the fire. Jnanam, knowledge. Vina, without. Moksha, liberation. Na, siddhati. Na means not. Siddhyati is accomplished. So just as the fire is the direct cause of cooking, knowledge is the direct means of liberation. Compared to all other forms of discipline, spiritual discipline, knowledge of the self is the only direct means of liberation. See the sloka, bodha. It's a very simple sloka. So, what is there? Bodha anya sadhanebhyah. So, anya sadhanebhyah, in comparison with other means, bodha hi, only bodha or only knowledge itself, sakshat moksha ek sadhana. So only one sadhana, jnanam or knowledge, is the only means of liberation. And how is it? Direct means of liberation. Sakshat moksha ek sadhana. For example, in Atmabodh, we will get a lot of examples. Like Pakasya Bannivad, like at the time of cooking anything else, the fire is the direct means. Likewise, Jnanam vina mokshaha na siddhyati. Underline it. Jnanam vina mokshaha na siddhyati. Whatever we do without the knowledge, liberation is not possible, not accomplished. So in the previous verse, having stated so much about the need for the practice of the austerity. So, what we saw in the first sloka, we saw, please chant with me, तपवेक्षीण पापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते. तपोभिः क्षीण पापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां. So first sloka we saw a lot of qualifications which is needed for a seeker to get liberation. He needs penance, he needs through that less sin. He should have to be calm, shanta, vitaraginam, dispassionate, mumukshu, desirous for liberation. So all those qualification and anubandha chatushtaya, the subject matter, the candidates for liberation, the purpose of liberation, and what is the relationship between the two, the seeker of the relationship, seeker of the moksha and moksha, or the textbook or the verse. So we saw that in first sloka there was a lot of things: practice of austerity, self-control, then so on. One may misunderstand that discipline alone may lead one to divine goal. To remove that misunderstanding, it is stated that knowledge alone is the only direct means for liberation. The example given here and in almost every one of the subsequent verses is to illustrate the case in point as clearly as possible to the new entrant in the field of Vedanta. In cooking food, items such as vegetables, rice, spices, and so on are contributory causes, but by themselves they can never constitute food. Fire alone can accomplish the cooking. Fire is the direct means. Similarly, the performance of rituals, offering of gifts, practice of austerities, control of the mind, the study of the scriptures, the power of discrimination are all no doubt helpful factors which lead one's spiritual growth, but they do not by themselves directly lead one to liberation, because liberation is possible only when the knowledge of the self is gained and the glory of our true self is rediscovered. This point is elaborated in next verse also, next verse also. So now we will see some intellectual jugglery. What about that? That this is Tika, I will tell. Penance, the repetition of mantra japa, karma yoga means daily obligatory duties, occasional obligatory duties, then yoga abhyasa, practice of yoga, and devoted karma. So what do they do? They remove the likes and dislikes, chitta mala, and they purify our mind and intellect. And with the purified mind, we can concentrate our mind in a single point. Now, the thing is, in that way, in the step by step, it says that self knowledge or Atma Jnanam is revealed. But here, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is clearly mentioning that not a single thing is the direct means for liberation. They are the secondary causes. But the first primary cause is knowledge, self-knowledge itself. As example, he put Pakasya Vannivat. Why? Because Jnanam Bina Moksha Na Siddhyati. Okay. So the thing is, in Upanishad we see, or in Bhagavan Shankaracharya's commentary, what is it? Jnanat evatu kaivalyam. Only through knowledge, kaivalya mukti, the complete liberation is possible. In Mukti Kopanishad, mantra number 31, Mukti Kopanishad, what is there? Kaivalya mukti jnana matrenokta. It is there. Kaivalya mukti jnana matrena ukta. So, means Shruti acknowledges it that knowledge is the only direct means of liberation. In another Upanishad, it is telling, Rite Jnanat na muktihi. Without the direct knowledge of the self, liberation is not possible. In Svetasvatara Upanishad, mantra number 1.11, there it is there, Jnatva Devam Sarva Pashapa Hanihi. That if you can know the self-effulgent Atma Deva, the Atma, then only all the bondages we are having, which is giving us sorrow, depression, anxiety, doubt, सारे बंधन की नाश होता है and avidya काम कर्म का निवृत्ति होता है. There is total cessation of the karma phal which is coming out of avidya kama karma. The activities out of ignorance, and by that knowledge only one becomes liberated. In Svetasvatara Upanishad, 6th chapter, 20th mantra, it is told, Yada charmavadakasham veshtayishyanti manavaha tada devam avijnaya dukkhasyanto bhavishyati. It's a very famous mantra. Many places Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji has used this mantra. That if you can roll the sky as if we roll our, yoga mat or something like that. If you can, without self-knowledge also, you can cross over the hurdles of the transmigration. It means without self-knowledge, the total cessation of sorrow is not possible. Now, doubt. In Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 20th mantra is there. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim asthita janakadaya. The verse is there. What does it mean? That Janaka, King Janaka, Ashwapati, King Ashwapati, they get liberated through karma. The direct translation of the verse says that they got liberation, or they become intended in liberation through karma. So through this Mriti Vachan, through these verses, what is told by Bhagavan itself, that karma has enormous power. So if there is such karma is present by which people can get liberation, then what is the use of the knowledge? Knowledge is useless. The answer is, the sloka says, karmanaivahi samsiddhim. The samsiddhi word means the purity of mind. There is no contradiction with the karma and ignorance. There is no contradiction. We can't cut a cloth with the cloth because they are samagotriya. We need a knife or scissors because they are vijatiya, opposite in nature. So as karma, which comes out of ignorance, and ignorance, there is no contradiction. That's why karma can't destroy the bondage of ignorance. If there is contradiction, then only destruction is possible. Clear? Now little more intellectual jugglery. What are they? The thing is, it's a powerful sloka. Bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi. In all Vedantic texts, you will get the same concepts. It's a powerful argumentation of Advaitin. So, Eka sadhana means primary means of liberation. In the verse 2, Eka sadhana means the primary means of liberation. For moksha, ekamatra sadhana is jnanam. Jnanam vina moksha na siddhyati. Without knowledge, there is no liberation. An example you saw, Pakasya Vannivat. So, suppose just feel that if I don't light the fire, there is no cooking. Okay. So this sort of argumentatory verse is called Anvaya Vyatireka. Anvaya Vyatireka. So all the Vedantic terminologies I'm trying to give you. What is it? Is the method of presence and absence. If you study further Upanishads or Bhashya commentary, so you will find this sort of argumentation always. Anvaya Vyatireka. There is no fire, no cooking. Likewise, no knowledge, no moksha. This is called Anvaya Vyatireka, the method of presence and absence. When A is present, B is present. Knowledge is the only way to moksha. Vedanta says, other than Jnana Yoga, all other yoga is Karma Yoga. That is the concept. Other than Jnana Yoga, other than knowledge, everything else comes under the karma. What is the support of that? Bhagavan in Gita is saying there are only two parts, karma and jnana. Clear? Vedanta is our only means, only pramanam. If any of your teachers, any of your gurus leave Vedanta, please leave that guru, not Vedanta. Vedanta is the only pramanam. Vedanta is our only guru. Whoever else you see in the form of a teacher, either older or younger, either is the head or the tail, he speaks of Vedanta. He is the Mukhapatra of Vedanta. So the thing is, in any action, in any practice where I retain my finitude, just go back to our Tattva Bodha class. What is the main problem? The problem is our sense of finitude. So if any karma retain my finitude, that is called karma yoga. And where I find out my infinitude, that is jnana yoga, the exercise of knowledge. When I start studying Vedanta, or not only that, in common people, or the student of Vedanta also, when we start what we know ourselves, that I am so and so, I am the son of like that, or I am the husband of like that, I am the wife of like so gigantic figure. Means I come to Vedanta with the sense of finitude. I am a brahmachari, I am a sannyasi also. That is the sense of finitude. But Vedanta says, na aham purushaha, etc. In Tattva Bodha, that sloka is there, you please go through that. Means I am infinite. So all the yoga will prepare me for Jnana Yoga. Now anyone can ask a question that I did not do any sadhana previously. Am I eligible for Jnana Sadhana, the practice of knowledge? The thing is, Shastra says, unless and until you do something on your previous birth, in this path you won't have that intensity for Jnana Yoga Sadhana. It's not possible. Vedanta never deny the other practices. First you have to know. Vedanta never denies the other practices because Vedanta accepts that all other spiritual practices cleanse our mind, purifies our mind. That is why tapovihi kshina papana. The first sloka Bhagavan has told. Tapovihi kshina papana. So what is the difference between Yoga Darshana and Vedanta? Yoga Darshana discusses on Tvampada, Tvampadartha, Sthula Sharira, Panchaka Kosha, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. Atma is Avasthatraya Sakshi. So that is the main theme of Yoga Darshana. That Yoga Darshana discuss with individuality. What is that? What is the swarupa of our individuality? What is, but in in Yoga Darshana, there is no Mahavakya. You will never find any Mahavakya in Yoga Darshana. Then what is the Bhakti? Bhakti has two levels. One is Apara Bhakti, lower state of Bhakti. Another is Para Bhakti, higher state of Bhakti. Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Gita, he is telling that he has divided the bhaktas in 4 steps, 4 types of bhakta. And the highest kind of bhakta is Jnani. And he is telling, Jnani is my heart. He is me and I am he. About Jnani, about the practitioner of knowledge, about the wise, about the self-realized person, what Bhagavan is telling, that I am Jnani, Jnani is me. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji has mentioned this example many times. Jnanam is the sakshat sadhana, direct means of knowledge, and others are parampara sadhana, indirect means of knowledge. So when a spiritual practitioner practices Ashtanga Yoga, he doesn't do the complete sadhana. because it is Tvam-pada Pradhana. And if anyone does the bhakti sadhana without the knowledge, it is only Tat-pada sadhana. It is also not the complete sadhana. Then they are all Bahiranga sadhana, outer spiritual practice. Then what is the Antaranga or inner sadhana? Vedanta, the most intimate Antaranga sadhana, because it eliminates the practitioner also. Because in all other discipline, we retain our practitionerhood. I am a sadhaka. But in Vedanta, at last the sadhaka vanishes. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, that is why mentioned Anubandha Chatushtaya and Mangalacharanam. The invocatory prayer. In there itself, Bhagavan has told knowledge is the only mean in respect of any other spiritual practices. But in all other practices will bring me to the teacher. That is why they are important. Because whenever you will be more intense in other practices, you will feel the voidness or incompleteness. Then you will start searching the real master who will take you out from the realm of incompleteness. So that is why Vedanta did not reject any other practices. So we should do the same also. We will do regular puja, worship, prayer, meditation, japa, repetition of holy names, everything. But keeping in mind that Jnana Yoga is the only means to remove my ignorance. Jnanam vina moksha na siddhati. It is not only the direct means, it is the only means. He is there. Then when we tell Jnanam gives moksha or liberation, the question is how? Jnanam never changes the situation. Jnanam tells what is what. Jnanam tells what is what. So, Vedanta tells that Atma is infinite and you are that Atma. Tattvam asi. Means you are already Atma, you are already infinite. For that you no need to be, you no need to become infinite. Like the apple is already red. To know only this is red. I need moksha means, what is moksha? What is liberation? Moksha means the liberation from sense of limitation, sense of finitude. So moksha means the liberation from sense of finitude. Vedanta says you are already free. The purpose of Vedanta is to know about our intrinsic nature. Jnanam is the statement of fact. You are already free. You are infinite happiness. Without Vedanta, not a single subject matter discusses about it. Then when Vedanta is saying, I am already free, then what is the requirement of other sadhana? Because I can't get rid of gross, subtle and causal body. Here I simultaneously, constantly experience Atma and Anatma. I should understand that I am that Atma part, not that Anatma. That is called Tattva Viveka. If you study Vedanta, if you preach Vedanta, if you listen to Vedanta, you won't be a Vedanti. Vedanti means who is having that particular way of thinking, whose way of thinking and Bhagavan Shankaracharya's thinking are aligned. Then only you can claim that I am Advaiti, I am Vedanti. Because along with the physical body, my mind also anatma, my buddhi, my intellect also anatma. Though I do all sadhana through this mind, but the entity of the mind is mithya, unreal. Who thinks that I will be liberated one day. Karma can't give me that power to get rid of that ignorant notion. Because who performs karma? My ahankara, my ego performs all the karma. Individual I starts doing japa and all those things. When we start, suppose yajna, fire rituals, we start with salaka, piece of wood. We tied some cotton, dip into the clarified butter and we fire it. Then through this fire, we fire the whole system, and then what we do? We throw that primary or preliminary wood stick into that main fire. So what about the sadhana? We start only to ignite our jnana yoga mind. Whenever we will be ignited fully, lit fully, we have to drop everything else. And that is the beauty of Jnana Sadhanam. Hari Om Tat Sat.